yourself in the mirror and accept that if you weren't a racist, you condone what a racist did. So that's, to me, the same thing. It's the same thing. So
I agree with you.
Big show. You got a big following. So God bless you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, folks, the man with the pinky ring and the New York thing. Forget about it. Bad Brad Berkwitt. And you're watching another episode of the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show on the Ringside Report web TV channel. Now, make sure you follow me on Twitter at BadBradRSR. Again, it's at BadBradRSR. And check out my amazing writing team on ringsidereport.com. Well, today, folks, I got a special guest who's a friend of mine and a friend of my show, who I greatly appreciate all the support. As he always says about the support I give him, I appreciate all of his support back as well. He is the host of the popular podcast, the Tony Michaels Pod, with co-host Gabe Sanchez, who does those fantastic TikTok videos, and I had on my show a couple weeks ago. He also is an activist who gets out there and puts it out there just as strong as I do. And why does he do it? Because like me, he cares about humanity and he wants to keep moving humanity forward. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to my show, the one, the only, Tony Michaels. All right. I got my brother from another mother on, with Muhammad Ali looking over us in the back, knocking Sonny Liston out in a rematch that we talked about on this show. So first of all, good afternoon and welcome to the show, Tony.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Absolutely.
On the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show.
And you know what? I got to give you props, man, because so many people screw up my last name. And I know it's a little, it could be a tongue with the BBB.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You say it, but that's because you had drama and you were in debate and all that.
Yeah, that's right.
You're good at doing it. Because, dude, I've been called everything from Son of Sam, David Berkowitz, to Beckwith, the Berkwitz, to you name it. I've been called it. So I appreciate every time you say it right.
Berkwitt. Well, it's funny you say that because I mess up a lot of people's names. Like, and some of it's intentional. Like, I don't call Matt. I call it Matt Getz,
right?
Not Gates, Matt Getz. And I'd be like, that's not how you say it. I'm like, that's exactly how I say it. And the reason why is because I figure it this way. I'm like, he would be so pissed off, like not what I say, but that I fuck up his name, that I'm like, I'm going to say it every time. I'm going to say it wrong. That way, if he ever hears just me say his name just once, he happens to hear me say his name.
That's right.
I intentionally say it wrong. So fuck him, So.
Exactly. But that's like when people correct me and I say Mike Penis, like, oh no, they autocorrect. I said, no, I meant to say Mike Penis. Like I said on your show, because he's a dick.
Right.
I'm playing it simple. Everybody always wants to correct you. So let's jump right into this, man, because we got a lot to talk about today. So first thing, I always tell everybody, like I told Gabe when he came on, anybody else, if I got anything wrong in my notes, don't be shy to say, hey, Brad, it's actually this. Because the military in me wants to be factually correct.
Sure.
Okay. So it looks like from your bio, you grew up in central Missouri, a small farm town near the Lake of the Ozarks, just 15 minutes from the Netflix series that Deb and I love and binge watch till 5 o'clock in the morning. Just recently, the Ozark with Jason Bateman. Oh boy, that's a good show.
I've got a good story about Ozark too. If we get to that.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. Incorporated with this, talk about growing up there, kind of, how things were, maybe how it molded you, and throw in the Ozark story.
Yeah. So, it's a small town. When I was growing up, it was just over 4,000 people. And it's a town near Lake of the Ozarks, but it's really close. It's part of the lake because there's several towns around the Lake of the Ozarks because the lake is so big. But my grandparents owned a resort at the lake. So I usually say I didn't grow up at the lake. I grew up in the lake because we would go every weekend and we would swim, all weekend long. So I grew up swimming in the swamp that is the Lake of the Ozarks. But I did grow up on a small farm, so it was kind of like a hobby farm. We had bottle calves and chickens, and we would get up every morning and feed and water the chickens and bottle feed the calves and feed the cattle. And so we would cut wood for our stove because that's how we heated the house, was with a wood stove. So it was an old house that was built in the 40s. and it's just a small farm. Grew up, 3 or 4 miles outside of town. The closest house was about a quarter mile away. So what you would think of as, rural, that's how I grew up, right? So it is weird sometimes for people to see and hear the things that I say and how I say them. I think it confuses some people. I think that's why, there's such a draw to how I say things, and maybe my perspective on things is because of that. But a good Ozark story is when they were going to shoot that series, they wanted to shoot it at the Lake of the Ozarks. And actually in the first season, there's a hotel that they shoot at that Marty Byrde and his family go to. The first
I remember
hotel.
the hotel. Yeah, Ruth worked there.
Yeah, that's right. So that hotel is actually at the Lake of the Ozarks. And it's very close, just a stone's throw away from the Bagnell Dam, which is the man-made dam that made the man-made lake that is the Lake of the Ozarks. But that hotel now it's run down, it's abandoned. Some business bought it and didn't keep it open. But that is one of the only scenes that they do that is shot at besides the B-roll footage that's shot at Lake of the Ozarks. Almost all the rest of it is shot in Georgia. And us from the Lake of the Ozarks can tell because there's a lot of pine trees. At the Lake of the Ozarks, there's not a lot of pine. It's cedar or oak at the Lake of the Ozarks because it's pure rock. Like the ground is pure rock. So, you don't have any soil for a really good tree to grow. So oak and cedar is what grows, not pine. So we from the Lake of the Ozarks can look at the film and the footage and know that it's not actually the lake. The B-roll is the lake. The B-roll is the lake. But a funny story about Marty Byrde and Jason Bateman, his character, and going to film at the lake. They were going to shoot it kind of a ways away from the Bagnell Dam originally at like a bed and breakfast. That was originally when we first started hearing about it in the area, that they were going to shoot this movie or film or TV series, whatever they called it at that time, with Jason Bateman. Like that was the word. He was down at the Bagnell Dam at the Strip. He was walking around, but they looked at this bed and breakfast, and people were so fucking pissed off in the area about how they were gonna portray them as drug dealers and druggies and, drug addicts and all this stuff, how they were going to portray the Lake of the Ozarks, that they were throwing rocks through the window of the bed and breakfast that they were looking to film that first season in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they end up filming it, in Georgia, because Missouri doesn't give very good tax breaks for filming. Georgia does.
Right.
So, but the locals were so fucking pissed off that they would, make them look bad or whatever, that they were actually, there were stories in the paper about people throwing rocks and leaving notes on their doorstep and all kinds of shit because they were cement.
But then they don't think about all the revenue that would have brought the area if they would have filmed there.
Right. Well, and that's one thing that Missouri failed on with that series, is they really could have shot it at the Lake of the Ozarks. It would have made it more authentic. There's plenty of places to shoot at the lake. Even like, there's strip clubs and everything else like the first season. So there's plenty of places at the lake that they could have shot this stuff. But they ultimately didn't, and not because they weren't exactly welcome in the area. I don't think that bothered them as much. It was the amount of money, the revenue that they would have to give up for the tax breaks that Missouri wouldn't give. So ultimately, they didn't shoot it there, but parts of it are shot there, and a lot of B-roll footage shot there. But us at the lake, no, it's not. But it, as far as like everyone wants to ask, like, how close is it? Is it really that close? I'm like, well, it's not far off in some aspects. Some aspects, obviously, it's complete fantasy. But yeah, there's some aspects about the lake that are very mysterious and cloaked with a lot of mystery in that way, just because it is easy to hide things in a place like that. So,
okay. Now, you told me you got, and I want to tell the viewers that are for younger viewers because they probably won't know, but you got a Mel Carnahan story. And let me read this for the viewers. Yeah. Because I remember this story very well. For the viewers, Carnahan died in a plane crash while running the U.S. Senate race in Missouri, and the state still voted for him, even though he was dead over incumbent John Ashcroft. That's correct, right, Tony? Okay. Yeah. And who would later become, and I remember, the Attorney General in George W. Bush's administration. So talk about, tell the viewers the Mel Carnahan story you have.
So my mom worked at the for the state government of Missouri And she didn't work for a governor specifically. She worked for all of them. She was a bureaucrat. So she worked in the Office of Administration and part of the Budget and Planning Office. Now, Mel Carnahan was quite the character. At the time that he died, he was actually the governor of the state of Missouri. He was the sitting governor running for the U.S. Senate against John Ashcroft, who was the previous governor of the state of Missouri. And John Ashcroft and Mel Carnahan had a history, of competing against each other in races or being in politics together for many, many decades. We all know John Ashcroft was the famous attorney general during 9/11 and the Bush administration. That's kind of how the country knows him. But we knew him as the incumbent U.S. senator. So here was a governor who wasn't that popular, especially with conservatives in the state, because he had vetoed an abortion bill that would have banned abortion. And that's kind of what made him unpopular, because Mel Carnahan wasn't like this, like liberal, he's kind of a Missouri Democrat. In other words, kind of like Jay Nixon, if anyone's familiar with modern politics. He's more conservative, not really they say rhino, you might say dino, like Democrat in name only in some sense. But Mel Carnahan had a lot of empathy. And that's what really drew people to Mel Carnahan. I mean, when my mom would say that, like when she would go watch the phones in the governor's office, sometimes to fill in for the ladies that would watch the phones, when Mel would walk by, like the governor would just be walking by and he would actually say your name. He'd know your name. He would know who you were. A lot of governors don't do that, but he did. And what he would do, because they got to know the Carnahans from the time that he was governor, because they would actually have their budget office, because the budget office did a lot of work every year to balance the Missouri budget. He would invite those bureaucrats, not the politicians, not the appointed officials, but the bureaucrats, the actual people who work for the state. He would invite them to the governor's mansion and feed them a meal and thank them for all the hard work that they did on the budget. And so that's kind of how my mom got to know Mel Carnahan. And the night that he died in a plane crash, my grandmother worked at a factory in our small town, and she worked second shift. And on her way home, she heard that he had died in a plane crash on the radio. And so she called my mom, and I woke up because I was sleeping. It was in the middle of the night. And I woke up to my mom screaming and hollering because she had found out that Mel Carnahan had died in a plane crash. And we actually, one of the most distinct, unique experiences that I have with American politics and state politics and politics in general is Mel Carnahan's funeral, because my mom pulled me and my brother out of school to go, because she knew it would be a historic event, because they shut down the city, they shut down the state capitol, because Bill Clinton and Al Gore, the president and vice president at the time, were going to come to the Capitol, and the United States senators, the state senators, the United States congressmen, I mean, they were all there in one spot.
What year was that, Tony? What year was that?
That was the year 2000, the end of 2000, which is really weird. Like when I was looking at this, when I did the bio for you, I was like, man, this is really weird, because it feels like to me when I stood there, because I stood at a rail and watched the current vice president at the time, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and then Al Gore and Tip Gore, they were walking together side by side, which is very, very rare that you see them, somewhere away from DC in a setting like that, because of security and everything else, to see them together. But not only that, you had all the United States senators, the congressmen walking behind them to honor Mel Carnahan. And it sticks out in my mind so much that everyone was there for him. And in a time like this, like we wouldn't. But the thing that really got me last night when I was looking at it was that just 1 year later, 9/11 happened. Because you got to remember, after Mel Carnahan died, just weeks after he died, they had the election, the 2020 election. And we all know how the presidential election kind of did. But Mel Carnahan beat John Ashcroft, a dead guy, a dead dude, beat the incumbent Republican United States senator in the state of Missouri, who was a former governor, who went on to be the attorney general. His son, his bigoted ass son, is now our Secretary of State. And in that time and in that moment when he actually died, Roger Wilson, the lieutenant governor, became the governor. He was a Democrat as well. He appointed Mel's wife Jean temporarily into
I remember this. Yep.
Yeah, and then they had a special election, and
Mm-hmm.
Jean ended up losing in the special election. But the point of the story, I guess, to me, is that's probably really where my interest in American politics, politics in general, but American politics happened, because I seen the brute force of what it was like for the American political machine, regardless of party, to walk and to honor a governor and
Yes.
what would have been a United States sitting senator. So it was very unique to my experience, because I'd never experienced anything like that before. I mean, I'd never really been that close to quote unquote a famous person, and here they all are. Like every one of them are quote unquote, known people, especially at the time. The president, which we all know what Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were going through, and Al Gore, who was running for president, was standing right there
Right.
within feet of me, walking to honor Mel Carnahan. So it was
But you know what, Tony, and that's a very touching story. And I'm glad you told the viewers that story. But isn't it disgusting that we fast forward 21 years to this day, and you just said something? All the senators, all these people were there, regardless of party. That shit wouldn't happen today for nobody. They didn't.
Oh, absolutely.
And because of Trump, in the way that he handled himself and all of his flunkies behind him, Ted Cruz. Look how they acted when Supreme Court Justice KBJ just got when they did the ceremony and they walked out, Ted Cruz and all those fucking pricks, and how disrespectful they were. Like you just said, only 2 decades ago, not like centuries ago, two fucking decades ago, we had some type of decorum.
Well, it was dignity. Gone. It was fucking dignity.
Exactly. And it wouldn't happen today.
Right, because that's what they were doing was honoring Mel Carnahan's his humanity, his dignity. I mean, you always say humanity, right? But I mean that's really our dignity in this country is what it's what anyone's asking for. And a lot of people talk about my cussing or the way that I say things, because I really railed on even Mitt Romney for clapping. Like we shouldn't. I mean, yes, we should give him credit. But at the same time, is the bar really to honor the first Black woman to be confirmed as a United States Supreme Court justice, standing and clapping? Is that the bar? Is that really the fucking bar that we?
No, it's disgusting. I understand your logic and where you're going with that, but I know we celebrate by applauding. When I got in the Hall of Fame, they applauded me. I definitely understand your logic because the bar is so low. But they did that with Trump. If Trump would do something that was remotely on par with what he was supposed to do, we gave him credit because
he's presidential. He's presidential, whatever.
But yet they forgot. Remember this one? The viewers are probably remember when he was at the podium because he did so much. I can be presidential when he starts going like a robot because he doesn't have to be politically correct. But I'm glad that you told that story because it proves the point that the decorum, the civility that we had at one time, even when Senator McCain died, when the flag was at half mast, he had it brought back up and then he had to be told, you have to bring it back down. How he talked about a man that was a war hero. I don't care if they didn't agree on politics. I don't care about that. But to talk about him in depth, we've never seen that before. And what you said, I'm glad that you told that story. So it shows the younger generation that because sometimes the left, the younger part of the left would be like, well, Brad, you say Reagan this, but he did this, he did. I said, I'm not arguing policies. I'm just telling you that there was some type of decorum in politics in the past. That's the biggest point I try to make.
Well, and that's the argument that I make a lot is that the two parties aren't the same. A lot of that bullshit goes around like, oh, the two parties are the same. And like, no, they're not.
No,
they're not. Because the Democrats would have decency. They would have empathy. They would use their dignity and give respect to someone who deserve that humanity. But the other party does not. No. And that's because they're not a political party anymore. No. They're a cult. It's a fascist movement. And they're hell-bent on the destruction of our democracy. And when I say ours, I mean ours, we the people. Yep. I mean, that's the only way that we secure liberty in this country.
That's right. All right. I want to give a little spoiler because we're going to go into your TikTok videos, but I want to tell the people a little bit of something about your TikTok videos.
Yeah.
So in high school, I found out through Tony's bio that he was in debate class. He took drama, and I think you did speech too, right? You did speech?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did almost every play, and I was in drama, and I did speech and debate competitions as well.
So even though his videos are fire, he has, I did some acting a little while, so I bring a little bit of that shtick to my show, especially these new videos that I'm doing, but it ties in. So I was aware of Tony before we met last year because Debbie said, you got to see this video of this guy. So she sends me the video and it, fuck him, and I was dying because Tony walks. So he's walking and talking in the video, in the TikTok videos, at least the one I originally saw. I don't remember what it was a while back. And it was one that kind of went viral. So she shows me this video. I'm like, this guy's hilarious. So I saw from time to time, I would see on Twitter, and I used to be on Facebook. I'm completely off of Facebook, but your videos would show up. People would share these things and they were hilarious. So what I want to ask you is about the TikTok videos. What was like the deciding factor, or what, I just, okay, this is a bridge too far. I got to vent, and this is going to be my medium to do it because they blew up after you started them. Maybe not right away, but they blew up.
Well,
talk about that.
The pandemic happened, and I discovered this app called TikTok, which I think a lot of people discovered during the pandemic. We were all sitting in our houses trying to figure out how not to be fucking bored. So I downloaded TikTok, and I did all the dance videos, and they're still all there. If you want to go down the feed, there's a lot of videos, but you can find them all the stupid dancing videos, all the stupid shit's there. That you first do when you do TikTok. You're trying to figure out what the hell it is. Okay. And that's the first thing they want you to do, all these things. But I put it down for the summer, and after the election, of course, I watched. I paid attention on Twitter, and I had I just pay attention to the news because politics interest me in general. And I've always been, on the Democratic side, I guess, the liberal, commie, socialist, radical, left leaning, right?
Right.
But when I watched after the election happened and Joe Biden completely fucking spanked Donald Trump in the election by almost 8 million votes. And not only would he not concede, because I knew that fucking piece of shit wouldn't concede, right? I knew he wouldn't say I lost, but when he started, it was evident in late November, early December, when he really was making it obvious that he was going to try to remain in power, because that's the way I felt, is that this guy is going to try. Now, as delusional as it was, he really thinks he's going to remain in power. And I couldn't take it anymore. So I just started talking into the TikTok. And the one video that went viral, it's called Snowflake Fascist, is the original title of the video. And if you go to my TikTok account, I've got a version of it pinned to the top of the page, because it's probably I guess most viral. Everyone likes that video, and it's still relevant. It'll probably be relevant for a long time. But I almost didn't make that video. I was making a few videos that day. I was finishing up my walk. I'm like, I want to say something. I want to say this. And I made that video. And that's really what blew up my TikTok account. And people wanted me to keep doing political commentary. So I kept doing it in November and really into December. And then people kept saying, well, we want to hear more. Like, we like how you say things. You say it differently. You have a different tone. You look like this is all in the comments. They'd say, you look like a Trumper, but you don't talk like one. Or you sound like a Trumper and you don't talk like one. And, I started to catch on that maybe a longer form type of content would be relevant. And I'm really good at long content form because I just don't stop talking. My audience knows that. There's very few dead pauses in my show, and I do 2 hours every single day. So I have a lot to say about it. And I feel like with my background, not just communicating when I was, practicing drama or speech and debate, but I've been in sales, belly to belly with human beings my whole life. So communication has always been my career. So I felt like maybe I could communicate on that level. So the TikTok account kind of turned into the podcast, which, as everyone knows, it's now evolved into a 2-hour show every single day. And
yep. I'm going to segue into that. How are you going to go back to doing it? I think I've been asked this question too about you. Are you going to go back to be doing some TikTok here and there?
So I'm hoping to, I put videos up on TikTok now, but they're not the walking rants that they used to do. Now that the weather's getting nicer here, I may get it back out and do some more walking rants. They may not be the same, maybe they will be. I don't know. The 2-hour show takes up a lot of time with prep and then doing the show and then post doing the show, getting everything downloaded and uploaded and cutting clips, and so it's a lot of work, but hopefully I can get back to at least posting a couple walking rants a week, maybe walk and talks or something like that. But I think we could get back to some of those very, very, very cursing fuck 'em rants. When I used to do the rants, I would like go back and I would count how many fucks I said in each rant, and I think my record in 60-second rant, I think it was 22 fucks. I think is how many I got in there. So yeah.
Do you get compared to, what's the guy's name? Because Deb sees him more than me in the videos. Who's the other guy? Is it the liberal redneck? Is that his name?
Yeah, Trey Crowder is one guy. Yeah, Trey Crowder does. He does kind of like a car rant.
Yeah.
And then Corey Forrester, the Buttercream Dream, as he's sometimes known, he does content too. He does some walking type rants, but they're more comedians.
Right. Right.
I mean, as much as I try to be funny, and I think,
but you're naturally, Tony, it comes across.
Right. But I'm not telling jokes per se, right? I'm not writing jokes. I mean, maybe in some sense, but I see myself and view myself more as a political commentator now that I've been doing it for a while. Maybe at one time I thought, well, because I've done some stand-up before, not unsuccessfully, successfully, just as like a open mic. But I mean, I guess I've never really viewed myself when I was doing this content as a comedian, more as a commentator. Whereas I think Trey and Corey, to their credit, they're funny ass comedians. I mean, they're hilarious. Brent Terrian too is.
That's the other guy.
Yeah, he's hilarious. To their credit, they're great comedians. I'm probably not near as good a comedian as they are. That make political statements, which they should in their comedy. I view myself more now where I'm at is a commentator more than a comedian. So
okay, I want to read something. Then we're gonna talk about the show. So for the viewers, if you don't know, and you should know if you follow me, Tony hosts the Tony Michaels Pod. And he with co-host Gabe Sanchez, who I had on about 2 weeks ago on my show, who does the hilarious. Gabe does one of the best TikTok videos there is out there. So check out Gabe as well. But I want to read something about the show. And again, I told you before, but congratulations, because folks, if you didn't know, Tony's on the Midas Touch network now, which is a big deal. So he's got an even bigger audience, which is great. But you describe, you said you modeled your political talk show or podcast basically off of right-wing Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, that style, but you do it from the complete left of what they're doing. Right. And what I found interesting was where you said, you believe your approach. No, hold on a second. I'm getting ahead of myself here. You know what happened? I cut something out that I wanted. You explained why you think the Democrats need to do it the way that you're doing it from the left, a Rush Limbaugh version, but from the left. So explain to the viewers talk about the show, but explain to them why you think the Democrats should be doing that format. So,
not to wind back too far, but when I was in my sales career, I would spend a lot of time in the car, and because I was so interested in politics, I'd want to listen to politics on the radio. Well, in this country, the only place to listen to politics on the radio is right-wingers. That's it. There's no left-wing talk radio out there. None of it. And the reason why is because Democrats are so scared of their shadow, right? They're scared of being wrong. They're scared of getting a fact wrong here. They're scared of being, too broad and broad strokes and painting things with broad strokes. They're scared of using simple language and not having statistics. And well, the reason why the right wing is so prevalent in our country, and the reason why we're in the situation that we're in with the Cheeto dust mobster, and we're running around trying to figure out how in the fuck are we going to make sure that we prosecute this fucking idiot so he gets held accountable for the crimes that he's committed? The reason why we're in this situation is because the country has been absolutely fucking inundated with right-wing talk-style radio. Rather it be the Rush Limbaugh Show, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, Mark Levin, Michael Savage. If you go down the list of local, you got your local fucking commentators that absolutely pound the airwaves every single morning, that aren't necessarily syndicated, but they're a huge influence in those local politics. And then they turn on the fucking news at night to Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax. And all the while in between, they're looking at Facebook. And we're standing around wondering why in the fuck does half of our country believe a bunch of nonsense and bullshit? It's because they're being fed it. And they've been fed it for 4 goddamn decades. So, of course, I would vehemently disagree with almost every fucking word that left Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity's mouth. I mean, Brad, if you can imagine my rants, I'm yelling and screaming at the radio as I'm driving. I'm sure some people saw and they're like, this dude's a fucking maniac. He's driving and he's yelling at someone, but there's no one in the car, right? But I saw something and felt something that I think the left wing misses in this country, because the left wing and Democrats, they're always painted up as elites because they kind of want to be that, right? They want to be smarter. They want to have more facts. They want to have it right. They want to be correct. Well, you're not always correct. You're not always right. You don't always have all the facts, but there is one thing that you fucking can do. As imperfect as we are, we can stand for equality. We can stand for equity. We can stand for liberty, and we can stand for decency, dignity, and humanity. You can do those things, and you can do those things in the style that they do on the right wing. I think that's one thing that I bring to the table, is that unique style. And I think it's not only because of, where I'm from, because I did grow up in rural Missouri, but also the years and years that I listened to them, and I know their cadence. I know the language that they use. Very rarely will you come watch our show. If you do come watch our show, will you have me trot out just a list of facts and make you feel stupid and make me feel so much more educated than you? Let me tell you something, Brad. Rush Limbaugh is a college dropout from the rural part state of Missouri. Okay. I'm a two-time college dropout from the rural part of Missouri. Now, I am not Rush Limbaugh, because I am not going to use my talent, whatever that may be, and what I can and can't do for fucking despicable, evil, vile, fascist things. I, like you, want to have all people, it doesn't matter your religion, your color, your skin, where you come from, what you sound like, your sexuality, your gender, whatever the fuck it is. I think all people deserve dignity, humanity, and most of all, in this country, you are afforded the right to liberty. Mm-hmm. And I believe that comes before anything else. And so if I can use what I have, as imperfect as everyone may be, but I may be, if I can just use that one thing to try to get people to understand that rural people, they want universal health care. They want a minimum wage really high. They want college to be really affordable, almost free. Like, they want those things. But Democrats have a stupid way of saying these things. They say universal health care, and we want free college. And the thing is, if you just got down to the bare facts and the bare agenda, and you said Americans don't want to go bankrupt because of a medical bill. Americans don't want to be saddled to college debt until they're retired. Like, if you go to college with college debt and you pay off, it takes your whole fucking career to pay it off. What good did it do you? And I guess that's kind of how I viewed it, and maybe we'll get into that. But these things are so simple to say in a certain way to make sure that you're not trying to make someone who has that same agenda as you to feel stupid. Now, when it is stupid, we call out stupid, right? When it's fucking stupidity, it's racism, it's bigotry, you goddamn right I'm going to call it out on the table. But Democrats have this way of trying to paint something in a way that no one wants to buy. And a perfect example is the election in 2022 in the primary against Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. A lot of people give me all kinds of shit about this, but Bernie Sanders.
You mean 2020?
Yeah, excuse me, 2020. But Bernie Sanders ran on free healthcare and free college, right? That was the thing. And Joe Biden said no. But really, honestly, both of them wanted the same thing. They both wanted to make sure that American people didn't go broke because of a medical bill. They wanted to make sure that Americans aren't saddled with a shit ton of debt. Now, they may have disagreed on how to do it, but the main thing that they disagreed on is how the American people would buy their message. And the American people, in particular, the Democratic Party, spoke and said, no, we don't want you to say that you're going to give away stuff that isn't free, because it's not free. Just because you go get something at point of service and you don't pay anything for it doesn't mean someone or you aren't paying for it.
Yes.
And that's why what pissed so many people off about Bernie Sanders is that he had the message, right? We want what you're saying, but we don't want to buy what you're selling, right? And I think the American people, not just fucking Trumpers, but people who are moderate, who would vote for a Republican in one election and a Democrat in the other. If we could just speak to those people, we could make sure that we actually have two parties in this country, as opposed to what we have right now, which is only one. We only have one party in our country.
Right. I want to talking point off of that, Tony, from the area that you come from. And I always talk to Debbie about this, and I don't understand it, because I always feel that I always say one voice is noise. Many voices together can be a movement. Something I don't understand, and you kind of alluded to it, but I never understand this about our people. Now, I'm a city guy pretty much, but I've been stationed in rural areas when I was in the military, and I've had friends that lived in the country. So I understand. I didn't live there, but I've been there, so I kind of been around it. One thing I never understand, though, and I'm talking as a Caucasian man, why is it, in your opinion, that poor white people can't get past their racism to get with poor black people, because they want the same things, like you just said? They want it. They want the American dream. They want to try to move up. But I've seen, and especially the poor white people that support Trump, their racism and their hatred, they would never get together with African Americans and say, you know what, we need to get past this racial shit, and we're all human beings. And let's come together collectively, poor people, and make a movement and get out there and force politicians to do things that are helping us. Because though I despise Trump, as you know, and you despise him too, his rhetoric, though he's totally full of shit, resonated with a lot of poor and uneducated people that voted for him. Though I remind the viewers, please don't think it's every Yahoo that's at his rallies that's his only base, because there's a lot of rich people that hate his guts, but like this tax break that he eventually gave them, that are behind the scenes and won't come out of the shadows and say, yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. They won't do it. But why do you think, as a Caucasian man coming from an area, I'm not saying your whole area is poor, but from what you've seen, why?
Oh, no, it is. It
okay.
Is. And
okay.
And that's the reason why. I mean, that's the main reason.
It's racism?
No. It's because they're poor. And,
okay.
And the reason, but there's a lot to unpack with that.
Okay.
And there's going to be a lot of unpopular opinions that I say here. But the reason why poor white folks and rural poor white, there is no wealth in rural areas, right? I mean, there are wealthy people compared to other people in those areas, right? The problem that you have in rural areas is this delusion that their white privilege, now they don't see it as white privilege, but their whiteness is the thing that makes them wealthy, right? Because even inside poor white areas that is the majority white, and I'm talking like 99.9% white, there is still classism, right? Like there's the people who live in the fucking trailer parks, and there's the poor folks that live in the HUD housing, and and there's the druggies and the meth heads and the and the this and the that.
Well, fuck, you still have that shit where there's people who have quote unquote money in these areas, and they're just as big of meth heads and drug heads as the ones who don't. But it's classism. But they cling to this old notion that and it's racism, but it's their poor classism. If we imagine this, if we let black folks into our community, now what? Now what are we going to do? Now who's going to be who and who's going to be what? And it really is rooted into the white privilege. And I mean, it's hard to even say, and a lot of people are going to be like, you're fucking crazy, but it's tied to gun culture. It's tied to evangelical Christianity.
It absolutely is.
All these things and these fabrics are all tied into each other. And the one thing that Donald Trump did, and I don't think a lot of people understand exactly how he did it. And they all these political analysts and all these, these people who think they're fucking smarter than everyone else out there, try to break this down. But there's one thing that he did that no one else would do, is he would hate the people the way that they wanted him to hate people.
Yes.
And give them the ability to do that. Right.
Yes.
Like Donald Trump isn't necessarily anti-gay, but he allows them and gives them that space to be anti-gay. I actually don't think that Donald Trump has convictions. Like, he doesn't have any. I mean, other than he's the best in the world, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He thinks he's the elite. He thinks he's the best. That's the only conviction that he actually has.
Yes.
He's going to throw anyone and everyone he can underneath the fucking proverbial bus to try to save his ass. Even his children. Even Ivanka.
Definitely his children.
Even Ivanka, he's going to throw under the bus if he has to save his own ass.
Yes.
The next one to throw under the bus is John Eastman. That's the next one to throw under the bus. He's already done Rudy Giuliani and Michael Cohen, and I mean the list goes on and on.
Right.
But as the question of how did Donald Trump hypnotize these rural white people is, here's how. They all want to be rich. They all think they're going to be rich. And really, they feel like they're rich. They feel like they're rich because they're wealthy with white privilege. Yeah. When you grow up in a white area and that's all there is white, that's it. That's all there is white. You have an abundance of white privilege. And that's all you have in the area. And that's your wealth. That's your wealth. So the fear of people of color, Black people, Hispanic people moving into an area and stripping away your white privilege, your privilege to jobs and your privilege to bank accounts and your privilege to own businesses and all this fucking just absolute nonsense that has nothing to do, not a goddamn thing to do with your whiteness. That's what terrifies them. And that's what Trump tapped into when he said, they're coming here, they're taking your jobs, they're criminals, build a wall, lock her up. Cause that's another one. Women, they fucking hate women. They hate women. So the lock her up was a perfect fucking chant. And it really is 100% their fear that they're going to lose their white allegiance. Their whiteness.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tony. And you know what? Because I always say this. I say, you'll have poor white people that look down on poor Black people, but you'll see Black people poor. And I've seen it, okay? I used to hang out in the projects back in the day. You'll see an older Black woman back then when I was in my 20s and maybe late 60s, 70s, who would bring somebody in her house and put them at their table. Baby, you sit down and you eat. I'll feed you. Where a white person, a poor white, I don't paint with broad strokes because I'm not saying all, but I'm saying some, where you won't see it the other way. You'll see a Black person doing a Black person before a poor Black person would do in a white person. I've seen it. I don't understand it. It's a shame because I really wish that group of people, poor white people, poor Black people, would get together because there's a lot of them out here that are living below the poverty line. And I feel that they would be a strong voice, but I agree, strong voices together. But I agree with you in what you said, and I like how you explained that. Next question I want to ask you is, who is, and put it out there, maybe you'll get it, who is your dream guest to get on your show that you would really love? because I know you do more talk, but you do interviews as well. If you could get somebody that you and Gabe would love to have on, who would it be?
Just one person. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a bunch of them, but
is it
one.
dead, alive, or?
No. That's later on. That's
Oh, okay.
No, I mean real live that you can get on and talk to.
The one person that I would like to talk to, whether it would be on a taped interview or not, or just a conversation for an extended period of time, would be Barack Obama.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that isn't because, well, I mean, he was the president, and I believe he was a very good president. I think history is going to be much more kinder to Joe Biden than it ever will be to Barack Obama. And the reason why is because Joe Biden was Barack Obama's vice president, and he came after the biggest fucking disaster we've ever seen in American politics. So history is going to be very, very kind to Joe Biden. Much kinder than it probably will be to Barack Obama, because Barack Obama has his faults, even with his presidency. Every president does. But I would like more than anything, my curiosity about Barack Obama is about his race. And what I mean by that is, when does he feel white and when does he feel black? Because he did a great speech during the 2012 campaign, or 2008 campaign, excuse me, when Jeremiah Wright, when Fox News, Sean Hannity, and Rush.
I remember that guy. It is Reverend Wright came out, and it was the chickens have come home to roost, and they act like he was some kind of racist and all that kind of stuff. And he was saying extreme things, but he was saying them for a reason. But Barack Obama had to give a speech on race, and that. And it always, and I talk about this with Gabe on the show, and even off air, because Gabe, his dad is Mexican and his mother is white, and he always, because I don't have that experience, right? Like I'm white, right? Like they see me as pasty white. They don't confuse me this way, that way, or this way. And I've never been accused of not being white enough or whatever. I mean, I've been accused of being a race traitor. Let's face it. But my when someone grows up in that situation where, how do you navigate that in life? Because that's not a life experience that I have, where a person has to navigate not just one race, but two races, and then from both sides. So that would be some of my interest is, well, how did he work his way through life in that situation? Because I think it's a unique circumstance. It's becoming more and more prevalent, but and I think that's why it's so interesting to see. And I think until we get to a place in our country where we can have discussions, real honest discussions, and Barack Obama can say honest things about how he grew up and the two races that he is. Right. And but you know what it is, Tony? Mm-hmm. He's biracial, but you never heard them say the first biracial president, because his mother is white. His mother is probably more like
exactly
Kansas. I think his mother's from Kansas, and his father is from and his father was from I don't want to
Kenya.
Okay, from Kenya. Mm-hmm. But they never said the first biracial. They always said black. And you know as well that the racists in this country never saw that his mother was white. I know his mother died before he got elected.
Oh, I think don't you agree that there was probably, and I felt that during the primary when it was him and Hillary Clinton, I felt like there was a lot of this back and forth that he's not black enough, and I think he probably got a lot of that, right? Like,
he probably got a lot. Yeah, but you know what? But you know what that is? That's a lot of racism, because I'll give you an example. It is good. I'm glad you brought that up. Good talking points. This is why we do these shows, folks. Mm-hmm. What you just said, he's not black enough. I can remember when I was in the military. Now, I didn't know him personally. I just saw him one time come off of a plane during the Gulf War, General Colin Powell. Mm-hmm. And I heard somebody say one time, he speaks so well, and my fucking head wanted to explode. I said,
you mean like someone, one of your colleagues?
Yeah, somebody, right. I'm like, first of all, you're saying that because it's a racist statement, but first of all, take his color off the thing. He went to some of the most prestigious colleges and the most prestigious military schools. How the fuck would you like him to talk? Like Flavor Flav? Like put his hand down his pants and be like, yo, yo, yo? I'm like, that's fucking insulting. He speaks so well. But now if it's a white person, because, black people get caught with these fucking stereotypes that I can't stand. If a black person speaks well, they're trying to be white. No, they're not. Maybe they went to, maybe, and they don't have to even be biracial. Maybe their parents spoke the same way. Maybe that's how they grew up in their household. Maybe they went to prestigious schools. Maybe they didn't come from a certain area where people have a different dialect. I'm a New Yorker. It never left me. I say,
Right.
I don't do dems and does, but I do have in my cadence and the way I talk, the first thing I say is New York or New Jersey. They don't say Kentucky. They don't say, they know I'm not from Indiana.
Right.
So you have, like you said, he's not black enough. I hate that shit.
Well, let me tell you something about dialect and where I come from is that when I goes back to my hometown, a lot of times, Brad, when I goes back to my hometown, I get this little cadence that comes out of me. I wants to talk in a certain way and I wants to do a certain thing. And you know, and that's a good point about you know, America in general, is that we're such a big country and we are really diverse. And
Yes, we are, and we're getting more diverse.
yeah, right. And I hate that that diversity is always like a bad thing. Because I'll tell you another story. When I got out of high school, right before I got married, I had to take a job at a factory because I needed money. That was the thing I needed. And so I took a job, like a second shift job at a factory. And it was so weird because I'm such an extrovert, right?
Mhm.
And it was one of the first times that I had an experience where I was around people that weren't all white. Like there were people from Africa that worked at the factory, Jamaica. There were people from Poland, Mexico. There was a lot of different diversity in this factory. The weirdest thing to me, and I guess it's us as humans, is that I would go into the cafeteria during lunchtime and it was segregated. Now, I don't mean like the factory segregated it.
No, I'm just talking about clicks.
They self segregate. Well,
Yes, clicks.
I wouldn't even call it cliques.
Okay.
They literally would segregate themselves based on what their identity was, right? Whether it was a race or because there was white people that sat together and then there was country ass white people that would sit together, you know? And then I looked at it and one of my Jamaican friends there at the time, he asked me one time, because I would go from table to table. I'd sit at a different table every lunchtime that I go in, I'd sit at a different table because I'd want to talk to different people.
It's just like
And
I am.
And he said, why do you change tables and sit with different people in different groups every time? And I said, man, I've hardly ever been out of Missouri, let alone the country. And I can come in this cafeteria and I can sit at any table and I can travel all around the world by you telling me your experiences
Yes.
from where you're from.
Yes.
And I said, there no other place have I ever been in my life that I could do that. And I'm going to take advantage of that. And you've seen this light bulb go off in his head. And he's like, holy shit, you're right. Because that's the way I saw it, is that the whole world is sitting in this cafeteria and they're at such a disadvantage because they don't realize it, right? Like they don't realize that there's more to them than just them, right? Like there's so much more you can learn about culture. And that has a lot to do with the language. Like there are black people out there that speak well, as they would say, but they also have a dialect that is cultural to them. Whether they're from California or Los Angeles, whether they're from New York.
I met people from California, black people that talk like surfers, young dude, in
That's
the military. Just
white people who live down in the South, in Louisiana and Alabama.
Right.
It doesn't mean that we have to. That culture is something to embrace, right?
Exactly,
Like
embrace.
it's something to embrace and something to figure out about other people. And I wish we could come to a place, but I'm afraid that the thing that Trump has proven to us is that there's still a lot of racism in our country.
There is.
I think until we move past some of this generational, institutional style racism, until we move past that, and I don't know how long that could take or should take, I wish it was gone now, but
I know.
I don't think we're as far as we thought we were, because we watched all these white people crawl out underneath their rocks.
Yeah.
And they're willing to willfully adopt delusion just to hang on to their privilege. And it's really, it's disappointing that they think that their culture is at risk, when it's like, no, it's not at risk. All's other cultures are trying to tell you is that they want to be acknowledged just like you are.
Well, Tony, you see me, how many times you see me tweet out something And some people, most people, because one thing I do like about it, Twitter, for the most part, it kind of clumps us together, even though there's some people on the left that I want to fucking choke the fuck out of. But for the most part, we get attacked, but it's small segments of the larger picture of us tweeting out. Facebook is different. But, I tweet out, all lives matter only when Black lives matter. I'm not talking about the movement. I'm talking about lives, period. If you want to, because, they love to say, well, all lives matter. That's a given. We know all lives matter and they should matter. But until Black lives matter, till you treat Black people in this country on par for the people that want to say all lives matter, Black lives don't matter. And they continuously prove that. And George Floyd with that motherfucker Derek Chauvin proved that. But I want to go back to a talking point that you said. Deb is from Louisiana. You mentioned Louisiana. And I'm a New Yorker, so you can imagine, and Debbie's an African-American. So Debbie will say Louisiana thing. She'll be like, hey, babe, you want to go to the store? Yeah. Because they answered, it's like she's answering her own question. And me, I talk a mile a minute. So you put a Louisiana woman with a New York, but we found common ground. And Debbie don't take no shit, so I can't really get too much over on her. But when you were explaining what you did, what breaks my heart, honestly, because like you said, I care so fucking much about humanity. What's so great about this country is the diversity that you just said. And I can back that up with fact. I've lived in Sicily. I was in Cuba, I was on the base. You can't leave the base and go into Cuba because and that was during Castro and Fidel. And I lived in Korea. We are small numbers in other people's countries. But in this country, as you well know, Tony, we are a true melting bowl. And this country was built on the back of African Americans, Italian Americans, Irish, Spanish, you name it. We had and we have diversity still. And that is really our strength, is our diversity. But the problem is, like you said, and we've said before when we've talked, that racism, if you're going to sit there and say, and I'm not saying you did, but if you're going to say Donald Trump started racism, you're fucking delusional. It was there. But what Donald Trump 100% owns is, like you said, he ripped the motherfucking rock open or the Band-Aid off, and now they all feel comfortable. But what's even more sad than just you and me, John Q. Public, is the motherfuckers in the Republican Party that do it on the Senate floor, on the Congress floor, the fucking Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Ted Cruzes and the Josh Hawleys and the Paul Gossers, all these motherfuckers, or Louis, whatever his name is, all of these motherfuckers, the racism that you saw during KBJ's confirmation. I have no problem with her questioning her about rulings that she made. But for Lindsey fucking Graham to talk about religion and Ted Cruz to hold up a book about critical race or the babies or whatever the hell that had not a mother, that was grandstanding. I think you put it on your show, or I think you did, or somebody did. Maybe it was Gabe put it out about how he looked to see if he was fucking trending on Twitter. That's disgusting. And that type of shit, we even with the Strom Thurmond's racist motherfucker that he was, and the Jesse Helms, shit, we had Robert Byrd, who was a Democrat that still was calling people colored from West Virginia. Remember Robert Byrd? He would say color. Racist. I mean, he was, I think he converted. I think he was even part of the Klan. I don't want to say 100%.
Well,
you had some
Robert
decorum.
Byrd was, but he changed his
But he
mind.
changed. But you had, but even with them motherfuckers I just named, you had some decorum. I know the left hates every Republican that ever lived since George Washington. But the truth of the matter is, you still had decorum, and you still had some Republicans that worked together with Democrats on bills where they co-chair of committees where they could work together. Like you said, Tony, I'll end this part on this. Like you said, there's only one party, and I'm honest. I want two parties. I don't want one party to have everything, because it's not good for the country to have one party to have everything. But right now, you have to vote blue because we only have one party. But I wish that we had Republicans, and they're fucking stupid for one major reason. They should have dumped that motherfucker Trump. They should have been inclusive instead of exclusive, and they would have given the Democrats a run. We could have debates on pro-life and pro-choice and policies. But if they would open up their tent like they claim they do, they don't. They could have got more people under their tent, because, as you mentioned earlier, You got conservative Democrats, whether they want to admit that or not, that are closer to some Republicans than they are to the progressives in our own party. So even though I'm an independent, for the record, but I agree with everything that you said, and I appreciate the way that you explain things, because you break it down. You don't use $500 words, and I try not to do that on my show either, because like you said, Democrats will bring out a laundry list of facts. You lost the person at the thing. Messaging.
Yeah, they don't want to hear about your.
They don't want to hear about this shit. Defund the police. You'll never hear me say that I'm a back the blue guy, but I will back decent police officers. But I'm not a blue line guy. I'm not, because I'm not cover up for a bad cop. If you got a bad cop, you weed them out. I'm for reforming the police because we need the police. But this whole, you get a segment of the Democratic Party. Let's get rid of police. Then who's going to police the streets? And I think you might have talked about it before on your show, or somebody I saw recently did, about community policing. That you got to have policemen go back into communities and build up, because I don't want to put everything on police. Communities have to come together. Community activists, religious leaders, if they're really religious leaders, need to come together with the police and work together to help their communities, especially in impoverished communities where you need it more than any other place probably in America. And that's white and black across the board. So, but you talk about, and what I like to, and you do what the Midas touch does too. You call, and I try to do it on my show, you call balls and strikes. You're fair. I wish I could say something positive about the Republican Party, is the truth, but I can't right now.
Good
but
luck.
If there's something,
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. Good luck. But I am fair in this sense. I gave credit to Senator Collins, Senator Murkowski, and Senator Romney. Don't like them. Can't stand them, to be on the record, to be fair. But I do give them credit that they did the right thing and they voted for her to be, for KBJ to be confirmed. Sure. I do give Kinzinger and Cheney credit that they acknowledged, though they voted for Trump in 2020, and I will never forgive them for that. And I don't really care for their politics. Liz Cheney, 93% voted probably with Trump, which I can't understand that. I know she's a true conservative, but Trump is not a conservative. But they're doing the right thing now. It doesn't exonerate the other things that they did, does not. But I try to be fair and say, hey, in this moment, they're doing the right thing. And you have to do these things. The Democrats, no. Yes. You have to be fair. In my opinion, you have to call it out. Okay. What I want to ask you is, you brought Gabe in. You had started the show, and then you brought Gabe in, which to me, it's a great mix. You guys play off of each other very well. I've already said his TikTok videos are top notch, and you gel. You work well together. So for the viewers, explain a little bit about when you brought Gabe in and how you've enjoyed the progression and the growing that you guys have done together. Because I saw some early shows and you could see the progression where you guys are more and more comfortable with each other. You know each other's roles and you play off of each other, and it really works well. And that doesn't always happen sometimes, because you have a real strong personality and somebody that may not be as strong, and that one always seems to go. I don't want to do the fist. They're gonna think I'm doing Josh Hawley, but you know what I mean. So explain that for the viewers.
So before I actually brought Gabe to the show, I would actually it just was an hour-long show on Wednesdays that I would do, and it was basically just an hour-long rant, which is pretty easy for me in most cases. I take two or three subjects and I can rant for about 3 hours. So I'd shorten it to an hour on Wednesdays, and there was always plenty of topics. But I interviewed Gabe one time because I was trying to get more and more people to interview as interest for, the viewers. Because at that time, I believe I was doing the Wednesday show, and then I would do my interviews. I'd post those on Fridays, right? So like I'd have my normal show on Wednesdays, and then if I did an interview, I'd post it on a Friday. And I found Gabe's videos hilarious and brilliant. Not just his writing, because his writing style is very unique and it's hilarious, because Gabe is a comedian.
Yes.
Gabe is a comedian. And he does commentary. He does political commentary, but he is a comedian probably first, and he probably would tell you that. But I found his style really unique, and I found him to be brilliant, and not just in, again, his writing, because his writing's unique and brilliant, and how he does his videos, but his attention to detail. And that is not me. Like, I'm a spaghetti at the wall type guy. I don't like pre-plan a lot of stuff. Like all the rants I do not write those out. That's all, that's all right off the top of my head. That's all, just real authentic me ranting. He is a very prepared person. He is very prepared. He's very organized. And that's not only did I need his brilliance in comedy and editing and graphics, because he's a brilliant designer as well. If you've seen his videos and you see his backgrounds,
Mhm.
some of the details that he puts in is something I wouldn't even have thought of when he does this stuff. And sometimes even after these months and months we work together, he still surprises me. But his attention to detail and his organization was something that I desperately needed for the show. And I knew to make the show successful. And what I mean by success is not just that it would, like make money or be with Midas Touch or whatever, is that it could actually speak to somebody, right? It can move the needle, as I say. That's a phrase I like to use. And maybe not just move the needle a lot. I mean, I hope we can now move the needle a lot, but maybe even just a little bit, maybe just with a few people, move that needle to realize that the messaging is off, right? Whether they're a leftist or they're an independent or they're a never Trumper or they're a Trumper, whatever it may be. But he really helped bring the ability for me to go to more than just one time a week. He gave me the ability to, with his brilliant production design, his brilliant graphic design, make the show look more professional, not look so damn cheesy. It's been a great success. And a big secret that maybe people don't know out there is almost all of our shows, almost all of them are planned and designed and produced inside of a Twitter DM, which is kind of a crazy thing to think. So, because that's how, like, I've never met Gabe in person.
Right.
Like, we've never been standing next to each other. So it did take a little bit for us to get used to each other on the show, but we off air meetings and stuff like that, we've been able to we've been able to find our stride, and I think it'll get better and better as time goes along, and as we add more aspects into the show, and our audience loves Bonehead of the Week, and that's kind of if you want to know, that's the brainchild of Gabe Sanchez, the Bonehead of the Week. So things like that, and then little things like we had this video recently that we did with JoJo from Jers. She actually wrote a tweet about the trucker convoy, and I got this idea in my head. I'm like, oh my god, I hear like a Civil War Ken Burns type documentary.
It's hilarious. I saw it,
and so I sent her a message, and it was just me reading her tweet in that voice, and she's like, oh my god. So she wrote another one, and then she sent it. And I'm like, hey, we have to send this to Gabe to see if he can make a video. So he took Joe was the brilliance behind the writing. And then I did the voice and she did her voice. And we sent those two audio files to Gabe. And he came up with the letters from a trucker's convoy, which
hilarious.
is
Hilarious.
If you go to my YouTube page, just search the Tony Michaels podcast. I think I have it set as the very first, the top video, like the preview or whatever it is at the top. You can watch the original one. And there's two of them. But that one is that one's hilarious. So that shows you the brilliance of Gabe Sanchez when you can just say, Gabe, I've got this idea. Here's my thoughts. And then he cranks it out and makes it happen.
Cool. All right, let's segue into the second half.
Mm-hmm.
It's the random fun stuff. This is what people really, really want to hear.
Yeah. Okay.
What's Tony's favorites and so on.
Yeah.
So let's go with it. Favorite genre of movies.
Favorite genre of movies, probably like historical fictions. I really like those. Like if you've seen Inglourious Bastards, that's a really good movie. There was one that came out, I think this year or last year, was Kingsman or something like that.
Yeah,
but it was kind of a historical fiction. I like stuff that's set in real history, but it's not exactly real. So I would say historical fiction, and then documentaries is like a really close second.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the movie that you could sit and watch 100 times and it never gets
Back to the Future. Back to the Future.
Love it.
That's my favorite movie. Back to the Future. I have the whole fucking thing memorized.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite or one or two actors that if something comes out, you got to see it?
That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there. Probably one that I like to watch the most, and I don't even know if I'd call him my favorite, but almost everything he is in
He does a brilliant job as Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Love
Love him. Yeah.
But some of my favorites obviously are like, Tom Hanks. Will Smith used to be. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, Will Smith was, he was a good actor. He had good movies. He played this guy.
Yeah.
And he had some good movies, and he kind of ruined it. So, but no, there's a lot of good movies, a lot of good actors out there, and they come and they go. But there's always the mainstays, and I would say probably some of my other favorite movies with an actor that you have to see a movie in. The two guys is Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson. Like, they're in so many movies, and every movie they're in, like, they're not going to do a movie that's not good, right? Even Snakes on a Plane, because it has Samuel L. Jackson in it, is a fucking good movie. So
I don't know about that, but I love Samuel.
Well, some could argue.
Yeah, you stretching it there. But I do love Samuel L. And yeah, I agree with that. I just saw him in a movie Deb and I watched the other night called The Cleaner. Did you see that?
No, I haven't.
Check it out. It was on Netflix. The Cleaner. Came out, I think it might have been 17, either 2007 or 2017.
Really?
I can't remember. Yeah.
I rewatched The Negotiator with Samuel.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
It's like an early, Jackson movie where he was one of the big stars in it, and so that's a really cool movie. Then I think I watched that a couple weeks ago. So.
Okay, flip it. Actress.
Oh wow. Actress. I would, there's so many good ones out there. Jennifer Lawrence is
fantastic.
Fucking just absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Jennifer Lawrence.
Did you see American Hustle? Did you see it?
It's fantastic. But the most recent one, the one she's in with Leonardo DiCaprio, the Don't Look Up.
Well, we're halfway through it. Don't no spoilers.
No, but
halfway through it.
It's so, she does such a great job, and they give her such a shitty fucking haircut.
I know.
She's probably, she's super brilliant. Jennifer Lawrence can probably play just about anything. She just is. She's just that good. So.
Okay. Favorite musical band.
So probably it's not really, I guess it's a band, but I grew up on old country gold. So one of my favorite voices of all time is George Jones.
Oh, love him.
Believe it or not.
I love him.
Yeah. So that's, and I like all the, the old country voices. Randy Travis is another great voice.
Forever and forever. Amen.
Yep.
Digging up bones. Yeah.
He's I forget what award ceremony it was, but he did the last the amen on the forever and ever amen.
Okay. Most memorable concert you've ever been to?
The most memorable concert I've ever been to. This is going to sound really weird because I think it was the first concert I ever been to. It was a big deal when I was a kid, but there was this Christian rock guy named Carmen or something like that. And he used to have a lot of
dark black hair.
Maybe. I don't remember. I just remember my aunt took me and my cousins. They took us to Columbia, to the University of Missouri.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. Which is the stadium or the place now. It's still there. It's the Hearn Center. But at the time, it's where all the basketball teams played stuff, and they were at the Hearn Center. And when we went in, I was a little kid, so it was so big, and so there was lights and everything. So that is unfortunately probably my most memorable because it sticks out in my memory so much. I say unfortunately because I don't remember the songs. I don't, it just stands out in my mind.
Okay.
The most memorable, probably because I was such a little kid.
I think I know who you're talking about because I think I know somebody that knew him. And if it's the guy I'm thinking about, he's got like the dark black jet, dyed hair.
It might be, but he was really like he was a Christian rock, but he was
I think it's him.
He was like really leaking into the mainstream, you know.
I think it is him. Okay, favorite noise or sound?
Favorite noise or sound? Well, I'm kind of a funny guy. I like to laugh, and so
Unfortunately, I'd have to say farts are funny.
I knew
So
he was gonna go there.
I can't help it. I think
I
farts
think
are funny.
I'd have to go back and look, but I think
Yeah.
our boy Scaramucci said the sounds of his farts. I think that's what he
Is,
said.
is that what
I
Anthony
think he
said?
might have said. I think he said that. I think.
I like to laugh, and I certainly, for all the folks out there listening, I definitely 100% almost all the time laugh at my own farts.
Right.
So
Well, Jim
it's
Pettick, who
hilarious.
was in Best in Show, he was the guy that played opposite Fred Willard at the table.
Right.
I think he said farts too.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean they're funny. You just don't have a situation. I mean, you could be really depressed, really down and out, and hear a really good fart, and it'll make you chuckle. So.
Okay, I'll take you at your word.
Yeah.
All right. Least favorite sound or noise.
Least favorite sound or noise. Oh man, I hate, and this sounds bad, but I hate a yappy dog. Like
Okay.
it drives me nuts. Like we have a dog, and a lot of times I don't know if anyone know this, but I have a chair that sits in front of my desk here, and my dog. Now he's not a yappy dog. He can be sometimes, but he lays in front of it, and sometimes he snores.
My dog does the same thing.
If you hear this sound like someone snoring in the background, it actually is my dog snoring.
Santino does that too.
Yeah, but every once in a while he gets a little yappy, and it drives me crazy when he gets yappy and barky. I guess maybe it reminds me of Trump, like
No, I don't compare the dog to Trump. That's terrible.
this little dog who thinks he's big and bad, and he's really not. He's all bark.
That's hilarious. Okay, favorite food.
Favorite food. Man, I'd have to really. Oh, it's a toss up between hamburgers and pizza. I'm an American kid, so
Okay.
I would say pizza though, probably. I
Okay.
like
How
pizza.
you capping it off? What are you having for dessert?
What am I having for dessert after
Yeah.
pizza?
Or whatever, favorite dessert.
If I had to choose between chocolate cake and strawberry shortcake, it'd be very difficult. But I would probably choose the strawberry shortcake. You get the shortcake, you put the strawberries on, the whipped cream on top. Yeah, so.
Okay. If you hit the lottery tomorrow, 200,
Yeah.
300, 400 million.
Oh, baby, that's a lot of money.
Yep. What's the first thing you're going to do?
I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Just keep doing what I'm doing. And then probably buy my wife a convertible or something, and maybe a lake house. She wants a house on a lake somewhere, so maybe do that. But I just do the same thing I'm doing now. Probably
Okay.
wouldn't be. It might look a little
Buy
different.
studio? I mean, would you?
It might look a little different in the background here, but I'd
buy
still
a
do the
studio.
same.
Put yourself in a studio.
Yeah, either that I build one,
Right.
somewhere, build one out to make the studio the way I wanted it, as opposed to the way I have it. But I wouldn't change much. Probably.
Okay. Do you have a hobby?
Do I have a hobby? You're looking at it. My hobby turned into what I'm doing. I've always loved to talk. I've always been good at it. I get it from my mother. She can talk for hours and hours and hours about, endlessly, almost about nothing, can carry on a conversation and communicate with someone. So
Okay.
that's always been, it's always probably been the thing that I love the most is talking. We've talked on the phone a lot, and I always get the sense when I'm on the phone with someone, they're like, Jesus, is he ever going to shut the fuck up? Good Lord. But no, I'm really good at talking. So
Okay.
my hobby is, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, well, you're using your voice, so it is a good thing.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I got 2 new questions in this part.
Yeah, sure.
Just in case you practice, I was going to throw you off on this.
No. I
So-
didn't practice at all. I don't
Good.
prepare for anything.
What is your number one thing on your bucket list?
The number one thing on my bucket list. Ah, boy, I don't have a huge bucket list. But I probably want to go to Europe and travel around Europe, and just see with my own 2 eyes, some of Europe and the history in Europe, and really around the world. But Europe interests me the most because I really studied hard and watched a lot of documentaries on the Second World War and fascism, how it took over in Germany and Italy, and because I see so many similarities now with the Republican Party and these pedocons, these people who are projecting, and it's it really is kind of scary, the similarities.
So I would like to go there and not only see some of the good parts, but see some of the atrocities from my own two eyes. So
Okay. If you could meet one person from any time in history, dead or
Mhm.
alive, any walk of life, who would you like to meet? And what would either be your first question or a couple of things you'd like to talk about?
Anyone, anytime,
Anyone.
anywhere.
Dead or alive?
That's a really tough question because there's a lot of people that I'd like to sit down and have a conversation with. You know, probably the reason why we are the country that we are today is Franklin Delano Roosevelt turned the presidency really into the type of office that it is now. And because of the situation that the country was in and how he really was able to draw the people together. And I don't think a lot of people realize this, like a lot of white rural people, they're like, oh, socialism bad and socialist and a bunch of socialism sucks and it's going to ruin our country and all this shit. What they don't understand is their grandpappy's grandpappy loved Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And the American farmer with the farm bill that passed under FDR are the first fucking socialists that we had in this country. So the reason why you have the privilege that you have, rural white America, the reason why you live and you think you're so wealthy, because you have inherited, as poor as you are, you have inherited all the wealth of your poorness. The reason why is because your fucking ancestors, your grandpappy, was a goddamn socialist farmer and they loved FDR. So probably the one person that I would want to go talk to, because I'd have a lot of questions for him too, because I'd want him to answer for the internment camps that he put Asian people in this country. And so I'd want him to ask that question.
Absolutely.
The other question I'd want to ask him is when did he really see Hitler as a threat? When did he see fascism as the thing that could destroy democracies?
Right.
It would probably, if I could only choose one and one only, because it's a long list. I'd love to have conversations with a lot of people, but that would be the one.
And you know this because you're a history guy. How many times was he president? He died in his last presidency. How many times?
Right, more than two.
Yeah.
He was a president.
More than 20. So if the rural farmers didn't like him, he was winning. So somebody was voting for him. He was winning all these damn times.
Right. I mean, the reason why we have two-term presidents is because of FDR, because they were scared of monarch type dynasties that would rule over our country. Which is some of the argument that people used against like Hillary Clinton, and I'm sure that they'll use against other people that are related to, like Jeb Bush or whatever.
Yeah.
They used it against George Bush because, he was George H.W. Bush's son.
Right.
So this monarchy type dynasty rule, this plutocracy, I guess you call it. So, they really got afraid of that. So they put 2 terms in for a president, which, rather that bears out in history, like over a long period of time, because it's only been 100 years since, not even 100 years since we've been doing that. So it's hard to tell if 2 terms is the correct amount of terms. Right. I think it probably is, in my opinion, because it's just enough to make progress, but not enough to fuck everything up.
Right. Can you imagine if Trump got in again? Oh my God. Okay. With everything we talked about today, Tony, if you have to sum yourself up in a few thoughts, as a human being, what would you say?
That's a good question. I think if I had to evaluate myself, I'd say that I'm very imperfect, but I try to be provocative in a way to get people's attention, to make sure that people understand that our country, the design of it, is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like that's the whole design. And liberty is the key ingredient. And so many people get freedoms and rights fucked up in their head. They think their freedom is to go to the grocery store and they got the freedom to pick 12 different types of frozen pizza. Like that's not your fucking freedom, folks. That's capitalism. That's just one company making 12 different products to make you think you got the freedom to pick between 12 different frozen pizzas, you dumb motherfucker. So if I can use my provocative voice and the way that I say things and a language, maybe even a dialect or a way of saying things or a way to convey a message to communicate,
that our liberty is more important to us than anything else that there is. The only thing that we have that will keep our democracy is our liberty. And if you let someone oppress the rights of other people and take away their liberty, they will fucking come for yours.
Mm-hmm.
And they will come fast and in a hurry. I mean, we've seen it just in the last few weeks where Republican state legislators all around the country are passing bills to get rid of age limits for marriage. These fucking people want to marry children, and they're sexualizing our kids' gender, and they're projecting that shit onto people who just want people to have liberty. Gay people don't want to talk about being gay in kindergarten. They just want to be human beings, though.
Exactly.
They want to be treated with dignity. They want to be treated with humanity. They want to have fucking liberty to be the person that they fucking are. And so many times in this country, we get people who confuse rights and freedoms with liberty. The rights and the freedoms that we have, that is the vehicle that we use to get our liberty. The freedom, and I say this, it's in my show's intro, the freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty. And I think if we could live by that, and that is what I try to do, is use my provocative voice, if you want to call it that. I'm a provocateur, a commentator, that if I can convince enough people that the freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty, if I can do that in my lifetime, however much I got left, if I can just do that, then I have moved the needle. That's probably summing me up. I hope that that's what I live up to. That from here on out, as imperfect as I may be, if I can do that, just convince people that the freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty, and liberty is what we strive for, then I think I've done my job. So,
Okay. And final question of the show.
Mhm.
If you have a saying that you live your life by, what is it? I know you just said it, right?
I
Is
think
that
it's
it?
just that. Mhm.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
the freedom to oppress
Yep.
the freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty.
Gotcha.
You know, again, growing up, my mom worked in a state capitol and she worked in a budget office, so she saw the politics of it because they had to score every single bill. So my mom would talk a lot of politics in our house because she was entrenched in it every single day. And the politics of old is not the politics of new. And that really is what I mean by that there's only one party. We have a two-party system. And it's not just a two-party system in our federal government. Most of our state governments are two-party system. Most of our local county governments are two-party type systems. Some of the school boards and some of those other small local elections, they're not really two-party, but they are. And if we don't really have two parties who actually their ultimate goal is for democracy and
Mhm.
for the people to have their voice and for liberty. If they're not, then we do not have two fucking parties. There is one party in this country that wants to destroy our democracy.
Yeah.
They want to destroy it. And that's not an American party. They're not anymore.
No.
They are fucking fascists. They want to
Yes.
tear down our government. They want to take away our constitution. They want to take away your consent for your child to marry someone. That's what's next. They're right around the corner. They are indicting and charging a woman in Texas for murder for having a medical procedure.
Mhm.
That is where we're at. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're so, oh my gosh, you're losing your mind. You're out of touch. You're
Yeah.
being so extra
Mhm.
about it." Listen, when they start to take away your liberty and they find out how fucking easy it is to take away this person's liberty, take away this group's liberty, take away people in this state's liberty, and then this state, and then that state, and this state, and this state, you don't think they're coming for you next?
Exactly.
So
And
I would say my phrase is the freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty. You do not have the freedom to oppress the rights of other people. It doesn't matter their religion, it doesn't matter your religion, it doesn't matter their race, it doesn't matter your race. It doesn't fucking matter. In this country, under our Constitution, under our democracy, and under our constitutional democratic republic, if they want to call it that,
Mhm.
they do not have the freedom to oppress the rights of other people. They just don't.
You need to put it on a shirt. You need to have shirts for your viewers.
Yeah, I've got some art that I've made that I should put on T-shirts, but I'm not good at the merch thing.
Right.
So.
You
I
got-
mean, I'm okay at
Yeah,
it.
you got the Masalas Bros behind you. They're good
Yeah,
at
you
merch
know,
stuff.
yeah, well, I'm just not as good at that. I like to talk about politics and not to talk
Right.
about merch,
I
but
hear
I'm
you.
trying to get better. I'm trying to.
Well, you know what you said. You know the clip that you played when you had me on your show. My dad said the same thing. If you allow them to take away
That's
your
right.
rights, then you ain't got to understand when they come to take away yours, because they're coming for yours. And
That's
then
right.
Gabe talked about, or you talked about Gabriel Union talking about them coming for LGBTQ rights. Well, if they take theirs, who do you think is next?
Right.
Nobody's. But you know what? But and we'll close out. It's funny how the Republicans always talk about Hillary's coming for your guns and Obama's coming for your guns. They're always screaming about they're coming for this and they're coming in. And no one ever came for shit like they claim.
Mhm.
But they're the motherfuckers that are actually coming for your shit. But they do that little Trump thing. They give the little silver thing and they make you look over here and then they're over there doing what they're really doing. And Trump did it all the time. I want you to give all of your social media platforms for the viewers.
Yeah. So if you want, you just anywhere you want to search, you can go to Google, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you want to go. Just search The Tony Michaels or The Tony Michaels Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, at me personally at The Tony Michaels or at Tony Michaels Pod. But just go to theTonyMichaels.com, theTonyMichaels.com. And all the links are there. Even speaking of merch, even my merch store and Gabe's merch stores on there. If you want to go get a Bobo the Clown, he's got a great t-shirt that says Bobo the Clown. So go visit theTonyMichaels.com. All the social media links are there, Instagram and all that kind of good stuff. Watch us every single weekday, noon Eastern, 11 Central on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You can go to our YouTube page, The Tony Michaels Podcast. Just search it on YouTube and you can find it. Subscribe there. And now we're actually broadcasting from the Midas Touch Facebook page because we are partnered with Midas Touch. So you can find us on Facebook, our show on Midas Touch's Facebook page. And you can follow me on Facebook. I do more stuff on Instagram, but you can follow me on Facebook if you want. You'll see my Instagram stuff. I push it over to Facebook. So you'll see all my Instagram posts there.
Okay. I'm going to close out with a couple of thoughts and then give you back.
Yeah, sure.
Close out. You already know where I stand about moving humanity forward. You know, I've told you when I did your show, you and Gabe are doing the same thing. We do it at a personal cost sometimes, but I don't care because this is where I'm at. We need to keep moving humanity forward. You're doing it through your show. You're doing it in a different style than I'm doing, but it hits a different audience, and some of it is crossover. All of us have to work together to do this thing. You found your niche. I found my niche. And whatever works to move humanity forward, that's what we need to do. You know, you have my strong endorsement of your show. You guys are doing it. You're putting it out there. You're making people think. And that's what I try to do with my show, with my interviews. When I'm talking to people and let them talk, because they're like, well, you know, you're pretty good about letting them. Yeah, I let people go on and talk because I want your thoughts. It's not me interviewing me. It's me interviewing you. I want different perspectives of people that make sense because we need to be out there in the atmosphere, because like you said, Tony, you nailed it. There's so much right-wing crazy shit out there that we got to push back, and we got to push back every single fucking day, whether it's on your platform, whether it's on your shows, wherever it may be. So I appreciate what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You definitely deserve to be picked up. I told you this before on the Midas Touch Network. I hope you blow up. I hope you blow CNN and MSNBC and all of them out the water, because I'm getting tired of mainstream and the games that they're playing. So I'm glad that we have the opportunities that we do to do it the way we want to do it.
Right.
We're not beholden to, you know, we want to make this money. We want to do this. Sure, money helps to produce our shows and we can make the quality better. And if we can get in a studio and all that, great. But we still are putting out what we want to put out, and nobody's telling us what the fuck to say. And that's my goal on my show. No one's going to tell me what to say. And mainstream networks they're emboldened to advertisers and money and all this stuff. And it's watering down a lot of things that they're doing. So what I want to do now is give you back the mic and whatever you want to close out with.
Well, I'll just have to say I appreciate you coming on my show, and it's been a blast coming on your show. And I hope you come back on our show, and I certainly will come back here. So I always like to talk this stuff out. I always like to give people a chance to listen, maybe to a different perspective, like you said, but to, maybe a perspective that they haven't heard before on the left. And that's really probably the thing that I heard most, the comments that I heard most about my TikTok videos is like, you sound like when you first started, I thought you were going to say Trump shit.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were on a Trump supporter video, and then this stuff came out of my mouth and they were like, whoa, it's the exact opposite of what I thought. Sometimes they would even be confused. They're like, this is not real. This person's like pretending or doing satire. I'm like, no, I fucking believe wholeheartedly in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you having me on the show. I really do. So and move humanity forward, and also fuck them. Fuck them. I just want to get that out.
That's right. I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna hold up the hat. But okay.
Fuck
cool.
them. Oh, well, I got the hats in the background here.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. I see them.
Yeah. The fuck them. One last thing is, I used to say it at the end of the TikTok videos, and it wasn't like intentional. Like I didn't know I was going to become the fuck 'em guy. It really wasn't planned. I just would say that at the end of the video because it's like a perfect protest term, like fuck 'em,
right?
Fuck 'em. Fuck, if anything pisses you off and it's not right or whatever, fuck 'em, And so I'd say it at the end of the videos. And what I discovered is there's a couple videos that I did that were a little different style, and I wouldn't say it, and people are like, wait a second, you didn't say fuck 'em at the, they kind of get pissed off at me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I am the fuck 'em guy if they get mad, especially when I don't say it. So
that's okay. It's my favorite.
So fuck them. Fuck them.
There you go. All right, brother. On that note, on the fuck 'em note, it's been great having you on. And again, I appreciate it, Tony. And we will be in touch. And
always,
I do. Come on anytime, brother.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon, Brad.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Hey, folks. That's another episode of the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show on the Ringside Report Web TV channel. Now, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Bad Brad RSR. Again, it's at Bad Brad RSR. And check out my great writing team on ringsidereport.com. Well, my brother from another mother, Tony Michaels, I knew he would bring it. He's got knowledge. He's doing it in his way, which I respect. It's a different approach, and I like it because he puts it out there in a way that a lot of people understand it and never get tied up around either one of us cursing. Hey, I'm a New Yorker. He's from Missouri. We curse a lot, but there's a message there. There's a message there. And sometimes the cursing is to add emphasis, but a lot of times the cursing is because we're so passionate about what we're talking about. All right. So follow him and his co-host Gabe Sanchez on the Tony Michaels Pod on the Midas Touch Network. All right, folks. Again, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. Leave your comments below. I greatly appreciate it. To all my new subscribers, I picked up several from the Sherry Jacobus show that I did a couple days ago. Thank you. I welcome you to my channel. Let's tweet this out. Let's retweet this out. Let's make this go viral. Tony and Gabe's show deserve it. All right. And on that note, every act of kindness is a little love we leave behind. Bad Brad out. Thank you for watching the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show. Please follow, subscribe, leave comments, forget about it, and move humanity forward.